happy.
I feel like that too, but I don't
Yes,
usually feel that.
thank you.
Like that we're different.
I actually like that because I don't, doesn't get naughty. So it's my personal, we get like 100 emails a day. I lose emails.
I know. I only give out my personal email, maybe only to school and sports stuff. That I get.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees regular meeting. Today is Thursday, April 25th, and it is now 7 p.m., so we will get started. I am Tara Mitchner calling us to order today, and we will now have roll call by our Secretary, Bill Lawler.
Trustee Melissa Augusta.
Present.
Trustee Kat Dooley is absent, excused. Trustee William Lawler is here. Trustee Craig Messernecht. Here. Trustee Tara Mishner.
Present.
Trustee Jeff Wood.
Here.
Trustee Tori Yu.
Present.
Student Representative Mahik Nasser.
Present.
And Tarun Tangrilala.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, if we can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good. Sorry. Moving on down to item 4, approval and overview of the agenda, and that can be found on pages 1 to 4. Do I hear a motion or any discussion?
I would like to add a subject to the agenda, if that's possible at this point.
That is possible.
An update on the cafe.
Okay,
I didn't see that anywhere else in there that I could spot.
okay. And where would you like to add that? Is there a specific space?
How about director?
Okay,
Director,
director's report.
yes.
Okay. All right. Just making a note. So we can make that, so we have like G, we can make it H? If that sounds good to you, Bill?
Yeah,
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Anything else from anyone else? Any ads or do I hear a motion to approve?
A motion to approve agenda.
second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it's approved. Number 5, consent agenda. So we'll take these one by one. A is approval of regular meeting minutes. Pages 5 through 11 is where that can be found. And do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then B is approval of claims and warrants, pages 12 to 14.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, that is approved. All right, and now item 6. We have a lot of fun correspondence, it looks like.
We do. Many of them were centered around the CUSAC award that the library received. So starting on page 15, the first one was from our mayor, Bob Gatt, and I did not change the caps in that. I left it just as I cut and pasted. So he was, I think, very excited that we received the honor through the state of Michigan, the Library of Michigan, actually. And the second one is also from Jocelyn Letzer. She's from a Fox Run library patron. Also shares her congratulations to the library as well for CUSAC. And she is also has taken part in some of the strategic planning, and that's where she noted that in the second, where she appreciated being part of that process. On page 16 and 17, this is a thank you letter from the Novi Community Coalition for the library participating in the Pinwheels for Prevention. If you've seen out front as you drive into the library, there are blue pinwheels right in front by our librarian statue, and that is recognizing that particular project and annual awareness that they do. The certificate also is included on page 17. Following on page 18 is a letter that comes from the city of Novi, and as the library serves as a resident and has an address, this is for a public meeting that will be held on April 29th, and I put that in there just in case anyone from the board was interested or wanted to attend, knowing that it does have to do with 10 Mile. I unfortunately have a program the same night at the library. I'll be hosting the high school incubator project. They're launching and talking about their program that night, so I won't be in attendance. So if any of you feel like going, please let me know, okay? And then on page 19, an email from Catherine Bruder, a library patron, again, congratulating us on the CUSAC. And then below that is an email from Celia Morris from the Library Network. And she was thanking us for both Mary Ann Zermulin and Kristen Abbott's time to go over some of the software that's part of Carl that has to do with acquisitions. And so we were happy that we were able to give her that time. They were able to see some things that we're struggling with a little bit, and hopefully maybe some new changes can be made with Carl when it comes to some of the behind-the-scenes processes that we have at the library. So we appreciated
I was very pleased to see that you met with them, because I knew there had been a few growing pains with that. And it's easy to just sit and sort of complain, but you guys don't do that. And I was really glad that you got together to walk through some of this. And
What I appreciate is the Library Network actually sees Novi Library as one of, the libraries to go to, because we do so much of the processes, and we use Carl very much so, for us. So when they can turn to us and say, hey, can we sit down with you and see how we can better some things, I think it does benefit all the other libraries, but we're happy to be used, as a beta test maybe, in order to work some things out. So, yeah, I was very pleased with both Mary Ann and Kristen. Were wonderful to meet with them, and I thank them for their time for doing that as well, because I do think we'll see some changes and hopefully some improvements. And that's all I have for correspondence. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Comment. That's pretty awesome. So much positive feedback, so that's good. Item 7, we have a presentation today from Ms. Barb Bukowski, Head of Information Technology. Hello there.
I wanted to thank you for providing me time today to talk about the activities that have been happening in the IT department this year. We started off by increasing our internet bandwidth from 100 to 150 megabytes. The software on our public workstations was upgraded to the latest version, and memory was added to improve our patrons' experience. Due to the number of holds being placed on our circulating hotspots, their number has been increased. A special needs technology station was added to the public area to assist those with physical and cognitive special needs. A big thank you to the Friends for funding this project. A digital display has been added to the business resource area kiosk. Credit card devices were added to the self-check workstations, so patrons are now able to pay fines or fees with a credit card, and the checkout software has been upgraded to the latest version. The information services staff needed a better way to track the number of hours volunteered by our teams. So Scott created a system to track, manage, and produce reports, and the teams enter their own information on an iPad that's located on the first floor reference desk. The boardroom's analog audio-visual equipment has been upgraded from analog to digital. I guess I already said that. And all the meeting rooms received upgraded laptops that are equipped with speaker bars, plus the youth activity room received a brand new Blu-ray player. Scott reconfigured our broadcast cart to enable us to stream live video during events held in any of the meeting rooms. Our lending laptops have been upgraded and increased in number since we expect a higher demand for them, with the computer lab being closed for renovation. Several workstations at various service desks received upgraded hardware. The data center was reconfigured, and some hardware and software were upgraded since they had reached their end of life and were no longer being supported. Servers were consolidated, and the data migration has been completed. Some hardware was repurposed, while obsolete hardware was recycled. In response to the failure of the server room's air conditioning unit, a space temperature sensing device was installed that will send a signal to the building's alarm monitoring vendor and several staff members if a certain temperature is reached. Plus, our vendor made repairs to enable the monitoring of the temperature inside the server room and the 2 data closets through the HVAC software, which was updated to the latest version. A couple staff workstations have been equipped with a sit-to-stand height-adjustable desk which is intended to improve physical health. We have upgraded the control boxes on the smart bins used in the AST room, several security cameras, and the laptop used by the staff in the youth department. We conducted a survey which received about 650 responses to determine if our patrons would be interested in Apple or Macintosh devices in the library. 42% said they would not use these devices if they were available, while 38% said they might, and only 20% said they would prefer an iPad. Scott has been working with the Historical Commission to produce a searchable database for their extensive photo archive by tagging titles or captions. The index files were uploaded to a Google Drive so photos could be used by the staff of the clerk's office in their 50 Years of Excellence celebration. He's also been working on a website for the Historical Commission, which is currently being reviewed. We've also presented 260 training sessions for patrons, with 6 being off-site, and nearly 100 sessions for staff. As a member of the TLN Technology Committee, Scott presented an overview of our migration from an in-house Exchange server to Google Mail to the staff of the Saline District Library. I presented an overview of our experience with virtual reality to the staff of the Canton Public Library. So far this year, the 3D Committee has printed nearly 300 objects for our patrons. We offer 3D print consult appointments to patrons so we can help them achieve the best result for their objects. We also printed 15 Derby cars models for our second annual 3D Derby and have created various 3D objects that are displayed throughout the collection. Through our relationship with the Novi High School robotics team and the Enable program, we had an assembly day where 50 3D printed hands were completed. Members of the 3D Committee represented the library at the MakerFest event in August, held at the Civic Center, which had approximately 400 attendees. We held virtual reality programs at the library and had a very successful program at Fox Run with more than 60 people experiencing virtual reality for the first time. We've been able to attend a few conferences this year. Scott attended the Merit Summit, which focused on cybersecurity. I attended the Computers in Libraries Conference, where library staff discussed how they were using robots with AI, virtual reality programming, and smart home systems. Both Scott and I attended the TLN Technology Forum, which had sessions on virtualization, circulating various technology items, and security systems. We still have some upgrades we'd like to implement in our meeting rooms to improve the experience for our patrons and renters. We're in the process of coordinating the upgrade of a couple scheduling software programs, our events and room calendars. An iPad has been configured with Google Translate so our staff can use it while interacting with some of our ESL patrons. The information services staff is currently evaluating the level of success. We are working to improve our library app by allowing patrons to designate a pickup location for their holds. The lease for our staff and public copiers will be ending soon, so we're investigating options available through the state of Michigan contracts. As a member of the committee coordinating the computer lab makeover, I am looking forward to revealing our makerspace to the public. I'm also excited to be a part of the Lending Library project that will be located at the improved Lakeshore Park, which is expected to open in the spring of 2020. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting.
We've been busy. Hi.
The results of the Macintosh and the survey, the Apple survey, are
Yes.
you planning on changing anything based on getting those results, or keeping things the same?
No, 80% of the patrons are not interested in
Yeah.
Apple or Macintosh devices. It just wouldn't be cost effective.
It's smart that you surveyed them. I'm surprised.
Oh,
I'm an Apple girl, but I'm surprised that they weren't interested, but I'm grateful that you surveyed them and got their take. So that way you know how you're spending your money. It's pretty smart.
well, you like to provide what people are asking for.
But doesn't that resemble the market though? I mean, predominant users are PC users versus Apple users, so that doesn't surprise me that you wouldn't have more than 50%. Yeah.
We only had 20 that was
Well,
interested.
I'm in an Apple bubble also with you, but people that love them, right?
Yeah.
And there's certain things that Apples do better than PCs do.
I'll agree
It's
to
always
that.
been that way. But yeah, from a cost perspective, sometimes you have to make those type of decisions. I agree with that.
Yep.
Anyone else have any feedback or questions? Oh,
Do we utilize cloud at all?
Yeah, we've been using the cloud for a couple of years now.
Okay, to store all that information in
Yep.
databases and stuff like that?
The hardware in the server room is basically our backup.
Okay.
And I need to get with you about the email
Sure.
situation. I think Julie told you, I tried to send a message to each of the board members individually on their library email, and they all told me they didn't get it.
Oh,
So it could be something I haven't set up properly, or it was set up properly once, but it isn't anymore.
do you use a laptop?
Yeah,
Why don't you come into the library? I'd be more than happy to help you out.
good deal. That's
Do
what
you
it
use
is.
Chrome as your?
No.
Okay. Chrome might be the answer.
well, and if it makes you feel better, Barb helped me recently because I had a similar issue, and I actually didn't have to do Chrome, but I do have to go into Gmail.
Yep.
And it's been working fine. I just have to get my brain around an additional email.
Yes.
But I've had no problem, so I don't think it'll be painful, hopefully.
Okay.
Good deal. I'll be in.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank
Barb,
you.
thank you so much.
Thank you. I had fun.
Aw. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
We're very excited about everything that's coming up soon.
I know. It is exciting.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, so item 8 is public comment. In order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect the 3-minute time limit. This is not a question-answer session, therefore, library board members will not respond to questions. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. No comment? Sure, sir. Sorry. Are you?
Well, it just seems I timed my visit perfectly since this seems to be the meeting of thank yous. My name is Jason Mitchell. I've been a Novi resident for 16 years. And I just came to personally express my gratitude and my thank you to all the board. Seeing the process firsthand, I know how hard you guys work, and you guys do it all volunteer. You don't get paid for it. There's no kickbacks. You have to find your own time and resources to do the work that you have to do on the board. And I just want to say I so appreciate it. I know sometimes it comes out of your personal days. Sometimes you got to squeeze it in between your work events. So I just wanted to say thank you. And since it is Tara's going on her 5th year serving the board, I wanted to give her a special thank you. Being her husband, I may be a little biased, but I think it also gives me a unique perspective to be able to see all the hard work and effort she puts in every day, and how she really lives out the motto of the library of inform, include, and inform, inspire, and include. She tells me everything that's going on, and not just me, but everybody she meets, all the programs, all the new additions, all the expansions. I mean, our home association meets at the library because they were told about it because of her. And that's just one of the many examples. Our son drives by, when I drive by the library, I have to sometimes avoid it on purpose because he'll cry if we don't stop to go in. She just impresses this upon everybody. And she really does inspire everybody to use the library, to be their best, and really is all-inclusive, bringing everybody in and trying to make everybody feel welcome. And I know even the standpoint of her being the first African-American president to serve on this board, every time my son comes into the library, and I've heard the same story from other children, he looks up and he sees Mommy. And it's as normal to him as seeing a yellow school bus or a red fire truck. And it makes me feel great inside to know that that's a norm that she's established, because it doesn't look strange to him to see somebody that has the same features or similar complexion to him up there on a board of all the other leaders of the board of the library. So I just wanted to say thank you very much to you specifically for all your hard work. I've seen you work weekends and late nights and open up binders and work on our anniversary. But it's all worth it, because this library is so special to the community. So thank you for your work, and to the board, thank you for all your work for making this the hub of Novi. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I can't say anything else. It's not a question and answer session. So just thank you. Student representatives report.
On the report, it says February, but this is actually the March 2019 student representative report by Heck and I, continuing on. The coding and feature program took place on March 11th and 25th. During these programs, participants in grades 3 through 8 were able to learn everything from basic concepts of coding to more advanced programming and were able to improve their coding literacy. Attendance was 14 and 14. The Battle of the Books program took place on March 16th. Students read from a list of 6 books and then participated in a contest where each team answered questions about those books. Prizes were awarded to first, second, and third place teams. There would also be awards for best team and best team attire. Attendance was 300 plus. Between Pizza and Pages Book Club took place on March 27th. Attendees read the book Show Lane by Josie Angelini. The purpose of this book club is to encourage tweens to read and allow tweens to practice for the Battle of Books program that the library holds annually. The attendance was 14. A teen space update. There were 326 attendees in the tween space for the month of March.
For the total breakdown of the teen space numbers for the 2018-2019 school year. In September 2018, there were 699. October 2018, 1,156. November 2018, 658. December 2018, 405. January 2019, 452. February 2019, 417. March 2019, 326. The total for the 2018-2019 school year is 4,113. For our Teen Advisory Board update, the Teen Advisory Board meeting took place on March 15th. Members assisted the library staff by looking for damaged items in the youth, tween, and teen fiction collections. They pulled books off the shelves that could no longer circulate, which would then go to a librarian to make the final determination of what should happen with the materials. This project was a way to give back to the library and to help ensure that the library maintains a collection in good condition. The attendance was 15. For our upcoming programs, we have the Teen Advisory Board meeting on May 17th and Between Pizza and Pages Book Club on May 22nd.
On page 21, you can see a letter from the Michigan Center for the Book, and the letter was written by Tim Gleisner. This is to let you know that we did receive a check for $250 for support of the adult mini Battle of the Books program that will be conducted in 2019. This was Lindsay from our teen staff who actually sent the information out and looked for the grant in order to do this. So we're very pleased that we have won some money to go towards this.
Will this be our first mini Battle of the Books?
For adult, yes. Mhm.
It's like-
And it came from them asking, after they've seen the kids and the kids program.
And Lindsay's amazing with grants.
She is. She is, yes.
Any questions for the student?
I just wanted to comment about the, when you had the Teen Advisory Board going through the circulation, what a great idea, since they're the ones that read them and touch them, that's a very great way to bring everyone together, so thank you for that idea.
Anyone else have any thoughts or questions for our students? Well, thank you.
Yes,
We
thank
appreciate
you.
it. You guys have a lot of fun.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
Have a great night. Okay, moving right along here. Item number 10, President's Report. So A is a special tribute from the state of Michigan that can be found on page 22. Julie, do you want to speak to this?
No, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So it's just a special tribute to the Novi Public Library. You can look over it, but as you can see, it's been signed by our state representative of the 38th District, which is Kathy Crawford, who's presented here many times, and Jim Runestad, state senator for the 15th District. But you can look over it, and it's a nice little thing for us, a special tribute. We'll take it. B is congratulatory letter or certificate from Randy Riley, the state librarian, on the CUSAC excellence level, and that can be found on pages 23 through 24. If you want to read over it, another congratulations addressed to Julie for the excellent level, and that's signed by Randy Riley, the state librarian.
I'd like to just, and actually, the thank you goes to Jesse Shank, who is one of our librarians who
Yeah.
did all the work.
Yeah. And Jessie started us off with the enhanced, was it essential
She
level?
did all 3 levels, yes.
Yeah, so-
Enhanced, I'm sorry, it's essential, enhanced, and excellent.
Yes, 3 E's. So awesome. It's good to get her name out there. And then we can move on to page 25, which is the 2018-2019 library goals. The only update is D in April. I think that we should probably glance over. Everything else has probably already been looked at, but that can be found on pages 26 through 44. The way we usually do that is if you have any thoughts or questions about it, you can bring those up. But everything that's new should be marked in red, and it is. So just a few notes, like Library Week proclamation, planning meetings, other things. So feel free to make a comment if you'd like. No pressure.
I would like to comment.
Yeah.
I would like to comment on the CUSAC and the library team, the whole team, including the board and the city.
It is
I think
all of
that
us,
is
yep.
amazing to be the only one in Michigan to win this amazing, recognition, and it just shows how amazing you are, Julie, and your team and everybody, so.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And I would be happy to relay that back to them. I'm very
Absolutely.
proud of Jessie, actually. This takes a lot of time, a lot of data that has to be collected, and what I appreciate is she really gave time and energy to work on this, and it does. She has desk time, she's in charge of scheduling the librarians on the desks, she has book clubs, she has collections to order, but on top of everything else, this was one of her goals, and she really put her time and effort and energy into it, and truly she does deserve it. We had to sit down and I had to give her a couple guidelines and stuff, but honestly, most of the work was done by her, so I really appreciate it. And we've had other staff in the past attempt it, and it just become overwhelming.
Too much.
And not be able to get done. So that's why I want to, just make a point to how great I think that is, that it was important, she knew how important it was to us, and for her to work on it so diligently.
She stuck with it.
And for being the 50th anniversary too, just,
Yes,
it's like
yeah,
the cherry on
it's-
top.
yeah,
So
great
please,
things, yes.
if you don't mind, Tyler, thank her on our behalf.
It is, and it's
Absolutely.
exciting because then I can, send that off to the mayor and say, if you want to use this in any of your stuff this year, this is another good thing for us.
And we hold this honor for 3 years?
Yes, it's 3 years that the certification stays accurate, and then you have to go through the process again and look through everything, so.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, so now we're at E, which is election of 2019, 2020 library board officers. Bill, do you want to speak to this?
Sure,
one?
I do. Per the bylaws, Article 3, every year at this time, we're required to convene a new slate of officers. This year, it's worked out to where there are more than one applicant for the president position and not an applicant for every position. So in front of you, you have a ballot that I'd like you to complete and forward to me. And then no later than the end of the meeting, I'll tabulate the votes and let you know how that turned out, which will tell us who the next president will be. Kat has already sent me her vote by email, so I have hers. Everybody else's either send down to me now or certainly by the end of the meeting, and we'll have that known. The president then will then be responsible for leading the move to fill the rest of the board. There are some volunteers for some positions. Not every position has a volunteer yet at this point, so that'll be a job for the president to twist some arms or make some inducements or whatever is required to fill those positions. Any questions?
A question, being that Kat is running for vice president secretary, can she have 2 roles, or would she have to choose
you
one?
can't have two.
Okay.
Does she have a preference? I don't believe she does.
Okay.
All right. So, thank you for that. Do you want to take a second now to go ahead and fill those out so we can pass them down the bill, just so it's orderly? Instead of passing notes in between your meeting. Bill, here's mine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Did you want to do that right now or at the end of the meeting?
I don't have a preference.
I think you can keep moving through the meeting.
I guess I can, I'll go ahead and continue on, and then towards the end, we can do it, if
Sounds
that
good.
sounds good to you?
Yep.
I think it's really up to you.
I'll have it ready by then.
I was gonna say, I think he needs time, and we're just sitting here silent, so, yeah.
All right, so item 11 is our treasurer's report with Melissa.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, the treasury report starts on page 45 and goes to page 47. We are looking at the amended budget for Fund 268, fiscal year 2018-2019, calls for revenue of $3,033,030, and expenditures, which is on page 47, of $3,140,250, consuming $107,220 of the fund balance. Fiscal year 2018-2019 amended budget for Fund 269 calls for revenue of $39,500 and expenditures of $164,700, consuming $125,200 of the fund balance. Estimated end of the year usage is still showing in the positive 98,000. Oh boy. Feedback. Any questions about the budget? It hasn't changed since previous meetings. All right, revenue and expenditure report for Fund 268 starts on page 50 and goes to page 52. And the numbers we're going to look at are the year-to-date balance as of 3/31/2019 column. Says revenue year-to-date ending March 31st, 2019 is $3,038,827, an increase of $15,288 from previous month. Our expenditures ending March 31st, 2019 are $2,082,819. That is an increase of previous month of $274,185. The revenue and expenditure report for Fund 269, which is on page 53. Revenue year-to-date March 31st was $56,927. That was an increase of $2,879. And our expenditures ending March 31st was $85,126, which was an increase of $8,815. Any questions about that? All right, our balance sheet as of March 31st, 2019 is on page 54 and 55. Ending fund balance for Fund 268 is $2,858,931.69. Is that right? Yes, I always double check myself. And for Fund 269 is $1,679,229.36. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any additional comments or questions for Melissa? Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on from there to our director's report, item 12.
Okay, on page 56 to start, we have a few members of the library team to mention for their years of service, their anniversary. Gail Anderson, who is our adult programming coordinator, she will celebrate 3 years on May 19th. Amy Marcus, support services clerk, she will celebrate 2 years on May 8th. And Allison Janicki, support services clerk, she will celebrate 2 years on May 8th. Just below that, some information about out and about in Novi in the library profession, just different meetings and things that I've attended over the last month. On page 56, you are seeing for the first time some of the information that's leading into our makerspace. And it's going to be called the iCube on page 57 we're on. So the team is Mary Jarvis Robinson, Barbara Kowski, April Stevenson, and Katie Iverson. I have had the pleasure of working with these four ladies for months now, since the fall, getting together and, formulating how the iCube is going to look. And even the name and how it was developed comes from this group, and what we think it'll represent when it opens. Mary Jarvis Robinson actually put together this report for you on page 57 and 58. So her explaining to you what the space, what it's hoping to do. At this point, I want you all to realize that it's very green for the fact that, and organic, because we don't want to tell the room what to do. We want, hopefully, by the way it's being used and the programming that we bring to it and the things that patrons maybe will suggest this room do, that we can continue to grow it. But we are going to be moving the 3D printers and some of the equipment that's spread throughout the library into one space so that people kind of have a central location now for it and where to find it. It'll allow us to do better demos and introduction of that equipment. So the scanning equipment and the 3D printers, the conversion equipment, which is the music. If you have LPs, you can convert that. All that's going to go in that room, but we're also going to be adding some very exciting things as well. And she has noted some of that in this report. I actually took the time to share this also with council last week, so then they had an idea. It was a question that came up maybe about a month ago, I believe when Trustee Augusta, when you were there. So that just was a reminder to me to make sure that they were aware of what was coming. And so the same report was shared with them, and council received it, I believe, 2 weeks ago. But we're very excited because, so this gives you an idea of how the room is going to be configured. It does go down in terms of tables and stuff, but we hope the activity that is done in the room will be very, unique to DIY and trying things. The other thing that they're adding are kits. So you can physically come up to the second floor. There's going to be shelving just outside the room where there will be kits also available that you can take a kit and take it into the room, use the kit. We're hoping 10 at a time, 10 options at a time for different types of creative kits, and Mary has noted some of the themes of those kits on page 58. It is still hopeful that we will do the unveiling of this on June 1st. That is the 9th birthday of the library. So the room at this point has been blocked off and covered. People can't see what's going on inside because we've got the furniture arriving. We have some painting being done, carpeting's being cleaned, and it's taking that transformation. And then leading up like that last week of May, before the unveiling, the iCube symbol and the information will be put on the windows as well, so it'll be noted to people as to what the space is. And we had a position that we put out looking for someone with background that would want to be teaching classes and managing that space so that we can have open hours, people can drop into it and try the space. But we need to have someone there for some of the equipment that is in the room, and we can walk them through it. And so we're in the process of doing that and getting interviews set up shortly. Any questions to that at this point?
I have one question.
Sure.
When they're doing or planning this concept, are they looking at certain age groups?
Yep.
To make sure like there's stuff for high school kids versus elementary school kids? Have they put that thought process in?
Yes, and pretty much from the high school to adult, it's similar. Because the high schoolers actually are kind of leading
Yeah, exactly.
what's going in the room. So that's been factored in. As you can see, I've brought to you tonight on page 59 and 60 a draft of a policy for that room. We will look for the age of 12 and older that would be allowed in the room without supervision during the open hours. Anyone under that age, and that right now is typical to our age for the use of the library. If you're under the age of 12, we look for an adult or parent or someone to be there, or caregiver to be with that age child, and then they can go into the room and use it, because there are some specific things in there that I think they're going to need some help with, or guidance, not to be able to just sit down and use it. But I think we've hit the mark in terms of, we visited a number of maker spaces, had lots of conversations with different libraries and what, tended to work with theirs to start. But we're also ready to survey and ask the community what else they'd like to see in the room. And as you know, during budget time, we built in those budgets in order to have them so that we can keep growing the space into next year.
It should be evolving.
Yes, we will.
Ever changing.
Right, and I'm excited for that to happen. That's why we don't want to, we have certain things going in, but there's lots of space and lots of opportunity because we do want the community to help us grow what that will be. Yep, great questions. So at this time, I know that we'll get to matters for board action, but this is just the first time that you're seeing this draft. I have not had any response yet from the attorney about this policy, hoping to soon. But I wanted you to see at least a first draft, and then I would bring you back anything with the attorney's comments and thoughts in order for any type of approval to happen. Okay?
Does the city have a similar policy for sick leave?
For sick leave?
Oh,
Yeah, IQ.
IQ policies, they have no IQ there.
As you say, they don't have an IQ. For sick leave, so this, we do have a little bit different policy for sick leave than the city because we have part-time employees. If you're over 20 hours or more, we have some benefited time that we give. This particular policy, the only revision to it is on page 62, and it's adding that we are complying with the Paid Medical Leave Act. We have already, I've already talked to the city and the HR department, and that was the paragraph they asked us to add to this policy in order for it to be under compliance based on the new information that came out.
So we're not doing anything different from what we've done?
We are not, right. It's just language that needed to go in to say that we're following that particular act. Yeah, and I'm happy to wait. This is a revised draft. If you want to wait a month and have it approved next month, or if you want to roll forward with it, that's completely up to you tonight during board for matter for board action.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Page 63, wanted to just give you a heads up to a program. This was part of goals that came from you as library board trustees back in July when we were setting our goals for this year. I know that Doreen Popard is no longer one of our trustees here, but she was hoping that we would do more programming where maybe we would have a forum for elected officials, and we did make that happen, and it's coming up in May, so I wanted you to be aware of it.
Is there going to be someone leading this or moderating it? Or?
Good question.
Me. The way I'm going to be presenting it is all 4 of these people have been supporters of the Novi Library and are currently in office. I will be asking them, and I have through email and my conversations with them, to talk about who they are for about 5 to 7 minutes each, sharing what their goals are for their term in office. And then what we'll do is we've had similar forums in the past, medical forums and political forums, where we've left questions on people, the opportunity to write a question on a piece of paper and then turn it in. And we will make sure that it's fair, and each person or candidate, not candidate, but each elected official would get questions, and we could ask those then. But they would be funneled in through us.
Do we have any issue at all regarding equal time for anyone who might be running against one of these people in the current election cycle?
I don't believe there are any. None of them currently are running. They're in their particular position. Yep. So there won't be any campaigning or anything. It's to talk about currently the goals and what they're doing. That's how it was presented to them for them to come and speak, is what are the current goals that they're working on. Would you have any thoughts that you might?
Well, I thought Mayor Gatt had opened up his campaign.
He has just done that. This was scheduled prior to that. So it will be him talking about current goals and what he hopes to be doing in this particular year. It won't be campaigning. That was broached to him already in in advance.
So you don't think there's an equal opportunity issue here if there are other people running for that same position?
I didn't come across that when we were putting it together. Yeah. If you think we should
I don't
change
know,
something.
I just raised
Yeah.
the question.
I took it as current elected officials. When we put it together and when I planned the programming with Doreen in the fall, it was after the vote in November and who we have coming in and who we have, that's currently in office.
See, that's for city council again, or a different position? For mayor again?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if he was going for like state
No,
legislation.
right,
Okay.
right.
Did you have more? Or-
So
Just wanted to clarify.
I will make sure that that's understood again, is that it's not campaigning. It's talking about current goals and things that they're working on in order to make their position, what they're doing, valuable. Is that helpful to your question?
Sure.
Okay.
Any other thoughts or questions? Okay.
On page 64, this, I just wanted to give you some information because it had just come out, some great information about public libraries. I loved on page 68 some of the percentages and how libraries have been strengthening communities and stuff. If you're looking for just any sound bites that you want to use, you can use a more global percentage and then, relate it to what Novi does as well. So basically just talking points for you. On page 69 is Barbara Kowski's, her report for IT. As you know, she gave a wonderful report kind of summarizing what's been going on, and a number of those items are mentioned in here along with what's been going on all year. On page 71, this is her write-up from when we sent her to the Computers and Libraries Conference. So I was just floored by what's coming. That's cool. I know. Could you imagine?
pepper.
I know, right? Could you imagine our welcome desk being, a robot or something at some
my
point?
goodness, the
I know.
kids would just-
Or as you come in asking, how can I help you find your book, or, a location of something in the library. So very cool what's coming down the line. I love that libraries are staying very much involved in IT, that's for sure, and the technology. On page 74 is the report from Keith Perfect. I don't think there's anything too major, just some updates there that's going on with the building. We seem to be, temperature-wise and everything is going well. Don't seem to have we haven't had any issues lately, so I'm hoping we're doing okay with that. On page 75 starts April Stevenson's report for information services. Lots of things always going on with our librarians and different programs and events. You can see some photos also on page 77. To note on page 76, just the Raising a Reader. Active participants so far, 290 that have logged 100 books. Number of logs received to date, 1,122. And the number of books read just this month was 25,000. And so we're pretty excited that that program still stays very strong. We're getting ready for summer reading, so the librarians are actively planning some great programs for this summer. On page 79 is Mary Ann Zermulin's report for support services. Very high checkouts, as you can see down in the statistics, of 85,000 this past month, so that was a very busy month for checkouts. We will be launching the read boxes next week, and so those 3 boxes will go out this year in Pavilion Shore Park, because Lake Shore is going to be going under renovation, Rotary Park and ITC Park. So those have been installed. The books will start next week, going into the parks. So we're excited.
Real quick question on that.
Sure.
Do you know if there's any other communities that are going to be interested in getting boxes? I know at one point that was a thought, like, oh, maybe other people would want to have like a little library.
In Novi or other communities outside of Novi?
Oh, in Novi.
I know of some of the elementary schools that have them. In fact, Woods is one of them that comes to mind that has one. So they are popping up, and they've reached out and we've helped them with some guidelines for how to make it. But those are being self-sufficient. They're, by parents and the kids and the students that attend those schools. They're the ones keeping them up. The library hasn't taken on supporting any of those in the community. We have found that the ones in the parks are the best for us to support. But they do have other ones out there.
And
So it's great.
like if they ask you, you might offer some thoughts.
Oh, absolutely, for them doing it, yes, yep. So if anyone reaches out to me, I can at least point them in the right direction. In fact, I had a Girl Scout troop ask not long ago, and I let them borrow one of our boxes so that they could, see it, size-wise, dimensions and stuff. It was during the winter when they're in-house, and so that they had a good prototype to look at.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah. The statistics follow, and they go through to, all the way through to page 88. And then we do have some information from the Novi Historical Commission. Their February 20th minutes are included. Their March 20th minutes are also included. And their agenda that they had for their April meeting is also included on page 95. Are there any questions that I can answer for you?
In case people are counting, I am. 36 more days till the iCube opens. I just did
Yes.
the math.
So we're hoping that is the date. I think we'll know in the next, couple weeks, where we are with just furniture and stuff. Everything so far is on time in terms of delivery. And by then, we'll be able to put out a save the date and then really lock it in. But that is what our hope is for June 1st.
Exciting. That's
And the
like a nice
cafe.
summer present.
Yes, oh, so the cafe. No, great questions. I didn't have an update when I was doing the packet on Saturday over the weekend, but I did receive a draft of the lease on Monday, so I am reviewing it. I have sent out a couple emails to our current tenant asking for a meeting so that we can talk about wrapping up their lease and moving out. And they have not given me a date yet to meet with them. I'm hoping it will be for next week is what I'm hearing, but I don't have one yet, and I'd like to get building and grounds people, if possible, involved in that meeting. So I will definitely let you know. So just got a lease on Monday. I have not reviewed it all. There's lots of information. There's the notes from the attorney plus the lease, and so I haven't chewed through it all yet. But you will be seeing it soon, and we will have a meeting.
Very good.
Yes.
That
you're
you
right.
see with getting that lease signed?
We have to still work on some things when it comes to the costs coming in. Yeah, the costs in terms of how revenue. That seems to be one of the questions that's coming up.
Question, but not cafe related.
Okay.
I heard the Novi Special is leaving us.
That is that has been confirmed.
Okay.
Through budget talks, I understand that it was discussed. I've had one preliminary meeting just to talk about timeframe, and we don't have any timeframe except for the new fiscal year, which will start in July. But I did have a meeting with Rob Petty from the city. He is spearheading that particular project. So as soon as I hear more, I shared with them the costs that I had received as preliminary estimates from a couple of the dealers that we had that will have to move shelving and things in order for it to get out. So they have that information, and I've tried to connect them with, when we built the building, I connected them with our contractor at the time, so maybe they could get some information about how the car was brought in. It was driven in terms of, it was rolled in through the front doors, but how it was actually put on that platform, I do not have a recollection of. I was not here the day that was done. So they're trying to get some more information. I had to provide also the weight of the car, and we just found that out too.
Okay.
Great
Just-
questions.
Just
Yes.
curious, I heard that. through the
Yes.
grapevine in the
So
Parks
it
Department.
will be getting a new home. I'm not sure where yet and when.
And just for anyone watching, Novi Special is the race car.
The race car, yes, which will free up 200 square feet of space, floor space in the
Nice.
youth area, which is a large amount of space.
What is
Great
the
question.
timeframe for the turnover for the cafe? Do we have an idea of any sort?
I do know that the current tenant that we're interested in signing the lease with, I think they could be stabilized and ready in June, so I think it can happen quickly, but we've got to get through a few things first before. I don't have an actual date or anything at this time.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Any other thoughts or questions? Okay, we'll move on. Item 13 is committee reports. So policy committee, I'm the chair of that, and myself and Kat Dooley have been working very hard. We just recently had a meeting, and we also are at the point now where we're pretty confident that at least by next month, you should see a draft of thoughts that we have and recommendations. Let's see, B is HR committee, Bill Lawler.
We haven't started the staff satisfaction survey yet, and don't really have a time to start it, but probably we will particularly once the new slate is in effect.
Okay. C is Finance Committee.
Nothing new to report as of since last month, so we haven't met, or nothing in addition, yes.
Okay. And D is Events and Marketing, and I reiterate that we are looking to have a meeting soon. We were talking about maybe having it, Jeff had a really good idea, that maybe we just try to have it at a coffee shop and make it work around our schedules somehow, a little bit later in the season, probably late spring or early summer, but just working with schedules, there's a lot going on. Some thoughts that we have once we do meet is looking at the library board bingo idea, and Marcia confirmed that we will be getting our t-shirts. That's my thing. I love for us to be branded. So summer reading shirts were ordered for the library board members, so you will be getting those, which is kind of nice. Great way to market us. April 9th was the Volunteer Appreciation Breakfast, and myself and Craig were able to be there, and it was beautiful. I can speak to a little bit, and I'll definitely allow Craig to do so as well. Okay, so what did I like about it? I really thought it was, so first of all, when you walk in, there's these nameplates, but they're on stickers, and I thought it was a name tag. Doreen, hey, gotta be humble. Doreen helped me out because she was there. But you guys, it was such a big sampling of our community. The dogs were there. The reading dogs were there. I got to speak with some people who do a lot of the language work. I sat with an amazing table of people that now I'm Facebook friends with, so that's cool. But I think the best part of it is just that you see all these people that give up their time. We're not the only ones, right? We can pride ourselves on all the work that we put into the library, but we're the ones that are front and center. There's a lot of people that don't get thanked and should. So it was really nice to be at that appreciation breakfast and see them feel good about being there. Craig, did you want to say anything?
Well, I will. It was a very nice get-together for all the volunteers. The staff put it on very well. And the three big stars of the morning were the three dogs that are part of the Read to the Dog program, and everybody seemed to really enjoy that. So well done. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. April 11th, the Charlie LaDuff author event. Bill, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, anyone that knows Charlie knows that it was a very lively event. There was a good crowd on hand, several hundred it appeared. He read from, I don't know if I guess his old book and his current book. And he's a Detroit native, of course, so there was a lot of questions and input from the crowd. And I thought it was an outstanding event. That it's the kind of thing we do a lot of, and it's obvious how well received that it was.
Awesome, thank you. Yes, please.
All right, so quick note on outreach. So last Wednesday was our big Knowledge Night event. Knowledge Night program last Wednesday at Hickory Woods Elementary, which is where I'm a PTA staff member. And April was there to present some information. Our second year having her, she enjoys coming to our building to outreach, especially to the North End Walled Lake Schools community. I would say every time I looked at her table, she was always bombarded with people getting information, passing out rulers and suckers. Yeah. And then actually with the library cards, we had that sign up also available. I think she signed up about 9 people for cards. But also a lot of the people we found out, surprisingly, already have library cards, which is a great thing to hear because we were never really sure. But yeah, so a lot of the people that she talked to, a lot of the families there already have Novi library cards and they're active. We were questioning also. Right. But yeah, so we had about over 300 people come throughout the building to just look at their kids' projects that they worked on the entire school year, and that was just a nice little add-on to have on as well, and the parents appreciated having the library outreach as well.
And Tori, thank you for inviting us, because you're the ones who actually spearheaded it, so I appreciate that.
Yep, anytime.
Nice, thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
And then E, strategic planning. Jeff Wood.
We will be meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m. And I heard Julie's providing Starbucks coffee.
It's not in yet.
So we will hopefully be wrapping up at least a good draft of the
Yep,
strategic.
that's our
objectives.
plan.
I think we have a lot of information. We've, over via email, have Doreen and I have shared our ideas of potential strategic objectives going forward. I think Kat, you said was going to tonight, but I'm sure we'll have some healthy discussion tomorrow and have something to present at the next board meeting.
Nice, thank you. F is building a landscape, and that would be with Hope Messer.
There are 4 bullet points there, as you see. The first one has to do with the cafe, which we've already discussed. The second one simply indicates the LED project work is deemed to be completed. The third one is about Lakeshore, and I think we touched on that briefly. But Julie, it talks about a meeting that was scheduled for yesterday, I believe?
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
I unfortunately was not able to make it, but Mary Ann from the Support Services did. It was a good meeting. Rob actually got a chance to talk to our vendor from Envisionware, and I thought that was really good for him to be finally paired, with the company. So they went over some details. He had some questions. I understand that his questions were all answered. And Rob also requested some costs on the canopy going through Envisionware, and I provided those today to him.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And the last one is the race car, which again, we've already touched on.
Thanks. G is our bylaw committee.
Bylaw committee has completed its work. That could actually be removed
Yes.
because there's really no more assignments for the bylaw committee right now.
Okay.
I have some
Yes, please.
question. I know every year we do new committees, and so my question would be, could we possibly have the opportunity to choose like maybe our top 3 committees? So when the president is assigning, then we can kind of use that as a guide?
I think that's typically what happens.
Is that
Like,
okay? Okay.
yeah.
How could we go about doing that? I know Julie had the sheet, what would,
Yeah, so I can speak to what Ramesh used to do.
Yeah.
He basically he was super informal, and he would just ask, what committee do you want to be on? Do you want to stay on? I was on the HR committee from the time I got inducted until like last year. When I became president, I was like, okay, I'm going to drop HR committee. So, for example, but he just asked, like, where is your interest? And then he kept that in mind. So when he did the secretary duties and talked about the new officers, that was a part of it. So I think it can continue like that unless someone else has a thought of doing it differently. It
I
seems to work.
think actually, if you follow the bylaws, I realize that it actually comes from the president. And so we've not been doing it right.
Okay.
It was coming out of the secretary, and it looks like once the president takes the seat, then it's the president that will reach out.
And maybe I
And find
misspoke.
out,
So,
yeah.
so Ramesh then told me, and I actually said what committees people were on. So that part wasn't missed last year, I should say.
Okay,
But he just like gauged interest.
okay.
So, but the president is the one that says like who does what.
Right, it puts it formally in, yeah.
Yes.
But
So that did
I
happen
think
last
from what I
year.
read from the bylaws, it's the president that's actually doing that work. So that's what I wanted to make sure. I could be wrong, I'll reread them, because I realized when I was reading it that we might not have been doing it right with the secretary handling it. That's
Oh,
all I want to
see.
make sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'll be president, but whoever does it, I don't think we'll mind asking
Right.
that question.
And if you need me to send something out, or if you need me to communicate anything, just let me know. Yeah.
yeah, I would like something, sent, or if you handed out the meeting or emailed, and then we
Yep.
could give it to the president at our next meeting. Is that okay?
I don't see why not. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. Or we can email it back, whatever. Okay, perfect.
Anyone else have any thoughts on that? Okay, all right, thank you. Going to item 14, which is public comment. In order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect the 3-minute time limit. This is not a question-answer session, therefore library board members will not respond to questions. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. Hello, welcome.
My name is Mike Duchesneau, 1191 South Lake Drive. And this is kind of unusual, but this library board meeting was not posted on the city's website. There was no agenda. The only thing that's current as of about 5:30 is just last month's information. So that's unusual, but something glitched in our system.
I'll make sure that I'll follow up with that.
And the other thing, and I know that we have at least one board member here who's part of the Walled Lake School District, there's a millage proposal, a bond proposal on the ballot and for May. I've already submitted my absentee ballot. And this is the first bond proposal that I have ever seen where you vote for a millage that will reduce your taxes and free up $300 million to improve the school system. So I would just encourage this board to get that word out as best as possible so that people don't look at this as your traditional increase my taxes, no vote. I do think that the meet your representatives is outstanding. I think it's great to be able to get our representatives all together. And there's only the mayor that's up for re-election, and he's a known quantity. He's been there for years. It's great that we can see our Oakland County Commissioner, our state senator, our state representative, as well as our mayor, all in one room at one time. I think that this is an excellent, outstanding thing, regardless of who these people are and whether or not they're running for political office. I think that reading some of the past minutes, I don't know if we're the only one in the state or wherever that has a full-time international librarian. The little blurb on Shannon was outstanding, and I think that that's really a strong statement as to how responsive the library board is to the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Item 15 is matters for board action. So I can share that I'd like to have some time to look over the drafts.
I would hope you would.
Yeah.
This is a lot of information. And really, I wanted to get it in front of you as a draft, but until I hear from the attorney and get thoughts back, you know, it's out there just really as just the first opportunity for us to put language together.
Makes sense. Any other thoughts on
Was that for both of them or just IQ?
For me, I wanted to have time to look at both.
The sick leave, nothing changed except for the paragraph.
Sure, right.
I wanted to have time to look at both.
Okay,
I have no problem voting on the sick leave one, but I agree with the IQ.
yeah. I don't have a problem with the sick leave policy either because there is no changes. Yeah.
Okay, any other thoughts? Okay, well, looks like, before we adjourn, Bill.
The results of the vote were Melissa Augusta had 4 votes, Tara Mishner had 3 votes. So that means that effective May 23rd, Melissa Augusta will take over as the president and will be responsible for accumulating the new slate of officers.
Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Tara.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Okay, and item 16 is adjourning.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.